Right, I've come out to a location today. I would like to actually be camping out in the middle of nowhere, but we still, our fire restriction has kind of been lifted, but we still have an advisory and what have you, which means I can't have any wood campfires, which is actually my favourite thing to do out in the middle of nowhere. So today I have come out into somewhere that's reasonably remote. It's not a bad place. You'll notice I have my bear spray very handy there, and another one down here, because on the way in here I did notice some very fresh bear crap. So you'll see me looking around quite a lot, because there's one down the valley here somewhere. I don't know exactly where, but I'm sure if they know I'm here they won't come anywhere near. They don't like people. However, it's always best to let them know that you're here, that way you don't surprise them. So as you can see, glorious morning. It was a little dark when I got here this morning, but as you can see, the sun is now coming up. Once it's over the top of that mountain over there, we'll be good. As you can see, it's a great day in the forest. A little rocky up here, you have to be a little bit careful. It's a bit of an outcrop and there are all kinds of drop-offs, and behind me there's a big cliff that goes down to a river. You can probably hear the river in the background. There's a big cliff goes down there, so we will avoid that. Look at that, that's glorious, isn't it? If this weather keeps up, I might head over that way and head up that hill, because I know if I head up that hill and keep going a little bit, although it looks steep, it's actually not. There's a gully, where are we? Over through that way, there is a gully over there, and you can actually walk most of the way up through that gully all the way to the top. There's only a little bit of forest walking, so other than that, you only have to bushwhack a little bit. As you can see, a glorious day in the mountains. Absolutely lovely. I'll take this. Right, I'll get set up and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Because I can't have wood fires, reluctantly I have bought myself a little gas stove, and as you can see, I have an abundance of these little propane cylinders. So that people say, oh, you need to buy a stand for these propane cylinders and what have you. You don't, you just need a pile of rocks. And in this bag here, if I can get that out of there without dropping anything, I bought myself one of these little stoves, and I will do a review on this in just a second. I'll just get this camera set up and I'll run through all the bits and pieces on it. Right, so as I was just saying, squash those down, I bought myself little stoves, little Coleman. It's a little Coleman, I think it's called a Peak 1, yeah, Peak 1, 26 bucks, can't odds it. You can go out and buy all these super duper fancy stoves and all that kind of stuff, and some of those cost an awful lot of money. This one weighs, in all honesty, if you're worried about that much weight in your backpack, you should really find a different hobby, because that weighs nothing. You know, I know you can get the super duper lightweight ones, you can get the MSR ones and the Pocket Rocket Deluxes and all that kind of stuff. This has a broader flame than those and has a much wider base on it. So I actually think, for me, this is absolutely perfect. Now what I don't like is those little cylinders that you get on there, you know, little tiny cylinders. Yes, they fit in most cook pots and all that kind of stuff, which is why people buy them. And I totally understand it if you're heading off up in mountains and whatever. But one of these little £1 cans actually lasts a very long time. So all you need is an adapter. It goes from this little small thread here to the standard propane. And all you do is screw that on there. I got this as a Lixada one. I got this online. Just do that carefully. There we go. I just got one of these. You don't need to crank the crap out of it. You just need a little, make sure it's sealed. Like I say, that's a Lixada adapter. Just goes from standard propane, one of those, to the small one of those. So what I'm going to do is, in a bit, once I've settled down and enjoyed the sun coming up, I will make myself some food. And I brought some soup and stuff with me today. But I'm going to have a cup of tea first. But that is it. And then all you do, like I say, I've made a little rock ring, if you like, a little stand. Screw that on there. Yeah, we've got gas. your gas. That stands back in there. Stand your rocks around it. That's super duper. Here, I have one of my smaller pots with me today. That'll just fit on there nicely. As you can see, that's perfectly safe. Now it doesn't have a lighter, but you can just bring a lighter. I do have various ferro rods. You can light it with a ferro rod if you want. The only thing with a ferro rod at the moment, I know it's all damp out here, but the forest has been so dry lately that I don't want to be showering sparks everywhere. So last thing we need is another forest fire. We've had some seriously bad forest fires, but we have had some good rain in the last little while. Everything is greened up, as you can see, and that really does help. We've had some rain, and this week coming we've got about 4 days of really good rain coming. So I'm going to get set up, have a cup of tea, put that back in there. I have my tea, so I will grab a chair and have a cup of tea. Flat bit of ground. There we go. Like I say, you can't odds it for a little. There we go. For a little stove, 26 bucks that thing was. I think the adapter was about 13 bucks, something like that. Now that's Canadian dollars. I don't know what they are in US. Probably cheaper. I don't know. But Coleman always make good stuff. But as you can see, I mean that's a 3/4 litre pot, something like that. And so that fits on there very nicely. Put some rocks around the bottom. That ain't going nowhere. You can buy proper bases and all that kind of stuff, but to me, that's all I need. I don't need any more. But the reason I went that route is because I already have some of those green cans, and I don't like those little small cans. I just don't like the whole non-refillable thing. Yes, they can be refilled. There are ways of refilling those little cans. Do I think that's necessarily a safe process? Maybe it's safe, as long as your cans are good. You can refill these. I've got an adapter somewhere to refill these green cans, but is that the best thing you could do with it? I don't know. So either way, cheers. Yeah. Oh, that is a good cup of tea. Right, I'm going to sit and enjoy this sun coming up, and I shall do some more in a bit. Now, one thing I am going to say is I have literally just lit this stove. I can already see steam coming off it already, so I'm going to have to watch this. Now, I would strongly recommend holding onto the handles when you're doing this, because it wouldn't take much to dump this off of here, I shouldn't think. But today, I am cooking prime rib and vegetables, apparently. That's what it said on the side of the can. Yeah. What I need a rock. There we go. The ground is a little wet. It's a bit damp coming in here. I can tell you something. That is going to heat that up really, really, really fast. Oh yeah. Super impressed. Now my theory is, tastes good too. My theory is, one of these little cans, little £1 can, will actually last a very long time. That's actually boiling. I've got bubbles coming up through that already. Turn that down a bit actually. Some of the reviews I read, people said, oh, they don't simmer very well, all the rest of it. Well, they do. You just turn them down. You know, that's why I have that little control on the side. Yeah. I have to say, that is certainly getting it. in terms of convenience, it doesn't get much easier than this. Like, if you're getting a campfire going and all the rest of it, it's much more enjoyable than a campfire, I'll give you that. Ooh, that's actually getting pretty hot. So I'll give it a little bit. That's actually bubbling in the top of there. She's steaming and a bubbling. So I think that'll actually be hot enough. If that took three minutes, I'd be surprised. Yeah. Now you want to let that cool down before taking anything apart. And that, I have to say, is a very quick way of warming up a very nice meal. Oh, that is good. I know some people say these canned soups, they're full of salt and stuff. I am keeping an eye out on what's going on around me because, like I say, I did see fresh bear crap. Oh, the sun's coming up on the rocks over there. Nice. There's some big rocks down through here as well. The sun's coming up on those. That's good. I might head down that way on the way back out. But, now that is a good meal. Apparently these things will boil water. I think they boil a litre of water and stuff. People do all these time tests with thermometers and boiling and how many seconds it took to boil the water. I don't care how many seconds it takes to boil the water, whether it takes 3.5 minutes or 4.5 minutes. It's another 60 seconds. It makes no difference. Yeah. It's actually really hot soup. Yeah, I remember to let this cool down. This is actually really hot. Ooh. So, I'm quite certain you don't want to sit there and watch me eat an entire bowl of soup. But that is nice soup. And it took literally, I would guess, about three minutes to warm that up. Well, as you can see, in the time it's taken me to eat my little bowl of soup, the sun has come round, which is actually really, really nice. Once it's come out from behind the mountains, it's really good. Right. I have to say, that was actually a very nice bowl of soup. Now, let's cool down. Yeah. So, something that's very important for these stoves, because I've got the adapter on here. If I take the stove off now, it's going to have gas coming out of there. So make sure this is off. Fold these back round. These just go round like this. They just fold round. Packs up really nice. Make sure you take the gas bottle off first. Right, so grab hold of the adapter, disconnect it. You might hear a little. Didn't even hear anything. Always have a sniff. Make sure there's no propane coming out of that. Yeah. And then you can just take the adapter off of there. Real simple. I'm going to leave that on there for the minute. You see, a couple of minutes later, stone cold. That weighs nothing. You know, this thing actually weighs absolutely nothing. If people are worried about that amount of weight in their backpack, then they really need a different hobby. Because a water bottle probably weighs 10 times what that does. Now I have washed up all my pots. Always make sure, keep all your cooking stuff and that, make sure you keep it clean, because you don't want to be walking around all day with a smell of really yummy food in your backpack. That's not a good plan. Yeah, so I've washed it out and just let it dry. That can go back in my pack. And I always carry Ziplocs with me, and the reason I do that is because I can put this in here, seal that up, so any smells that are in there are contained in there. So again, that's less attractants. That's all the stuff that needs cleaning when I get home. time of the year, fire season, actually all the time, I carry a collapsible fire bucket. This is just one of those fire buckets. You can get them on Amazon. I think they're about 10 bucks, something like that. This stuff, now, this is something that I've mentioned in the past. This stuff, just coming a bit closer, this is that double-sided Velcro. This stuff is absolutely amazing. For like, the stuff for like doing bushcraft and stuff, this stuff is brilliant. Because you can just take off a piece like that, wrap it around whatever you want. When I put the tripod back on my pack, I can put this around there, and it has the fuzzies on one side and the hooks on the other side, and it's actually pretty strong. I mean, if you lay this stuff out, okay, he says I can't actually pull that apart without breaking this. I am seriously pulling on that, and this one's 3/4 wide, and it's that's all it is. So this stuff is actually remarkably strong. Like if you're securing stuff to the outside of packs and stuff like that, this, look at that, I can't even pull that apart. It is that strong. Yeah, and it's cheap too. I bought a great big roll of this stuff. I think it was about 15 bucks. It was a great big roll like this. I still have so much of it left at home, it's just insane. So I always have pieces of this. So this is something in your backpack, in your kit for doing outdoor stuff. This is actually really, really handy stuff to have with it. If you were putting up a shelter quick and you had nothing to attach it to a tree, you just wrap some of this around it. Trust me, that ain't coming off of there. Look at that. That stuff's very, very strong. So I think it's actually brilliant. I use it for attaching stuff to my backpack all the time. As you see, I got some on my fire bucket. I always have a collapsible fire bucket. This thing holds 20 litres. I think this was about 20 bucks. It's a no-name one. I'm not sure what. It just says on it, just says folding bucket. There's no name on it. So whatever. This one is really strong. I have filled this thing literally right to the top and deliberately tried to rip the handles out of it to see if I could, and I couldn't. So therefore it's strong enough. Yeah. If I could have pulled the handles out of it, I'd have just bought something different, because but that folds up again. That folds up to nothing. Yeah. I always have a garbage bag with me, because you never know when you find garbage and stuff. If I find garbage out in places, I like to pick it up and take it home with me. I wish everybody would take their own garbage home, save me doing it, but I always have a garbage bag. Right, how's that going? It's looking pretty good. Need the official pot drying cloth. Yeah. One thing I do like about using that stove is, see how clean that is? Lovely, isn't it? Yeah, I don't have to scrub the crap out of it when I get home. I hate having pots. You see these people that have these pots and they're already black, and the kettles are already black. Yeah, and that's fine if you like that kind of thing. I like this stuff to be clean. If you're cooking food and stuff, make sure whatever you're cooking it in is clean. The last thing you want is to go down with yibby yabby disease out in the middle of nowhere and you spend half the week crapping in a bush somewhere. So always make sure that your cooking stuff is clean. Yeah. Other than that, you know what time it is? Tea time. Where did I put that little cat? I have somewhere. You don't need these little caps on here. You can get away with those. However, I have one, so I might use it if I can find it. That just goes on there. Because that's a £1 can. I know exactly what it weighed before I came out today, so I'm going to weigh it again when I get home. I don't suspect there'll even be enough in there that I could actually weigh the difference. One of these cans will actually last an incredible amount of time. Again, that can go in there. Make sure this is sealed up so we don't have any smells. There we go. On the subject of Ziplocs, a good friend of mine showed me an amazing trick with Ziplocs. You can get those big ones, you know, the great big ones that are about this big. If you're going camping and you've got blankets and stuff like that you want to take with you, get one of those big Ziplocs, put the blanket in it, or even with your sleeping bag or whatever, and put it on the floor. I haven't got one with me that I can show you. Put it on the floor and kneel on it to squash all the air out of the sleeping bag or the blanket, and just literally crush it down flat. And then what you do is, as you're rolling it up, roll it up towards the seam and then do up the seam. I can tell you now, it probably takes up less than a quarter of the space. It's like one of those vacuum bags without all the vacuum fancy crap that goes with it. Just get those giant Ziploc bags, kneel on them, squash it down flat, zip it up. I have stuff at home. I've got huge sleeping bags at home that crush down to stuff literally this big. I could put 2 or 3 of them in that pack, literally. And if you had them out, then you know they take up a huge space. But if you just crush them down in those giant Ziploc bags, absolutely fantastic. There was a friend of mine showed me that, and when I was moving, she gave me a hand moving, and I'm like, I'd never seen that before, and I thought, what a fantastic idea. And it works. Just get those really big Ziploc bags, the really big ones, put your stuff in it, kneel on it, squash it, stick it in the bottom of your pack, takes up next to no space whatsoever. If you're doing that with a sleeping bag, just take it out the Ziploc bag before you need to use it, let it puff up, let the air get back into it, because it's the air that is the insulation, and hey presto, ready to go till tomorrow morning. Yeah. Now if that's not a nice view, I don't know what is. Look at that, eh? Lovely, 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 lovely. Right, I'm enjoying my tea. I'm certainly enjoying this sunshine. I will take that. I'm just going to clear this site up in a minute. With that I will just hide over like that. That way people don't think it's a fire ring. Yeah. Look at that. Isn't that nice? It'd be good if it didn't have a guy with a shadow of a cup of tea in his hand. There we go. Perfect. That is really nice. Right, I think what I will do when I finished here, I'm going to cut straight across there and up the side of that mountain, I think. Get as far as I can up in there. I know it does get a little steep up in there, so I'm not sure how far I can get up in there. Normally I would just go straight up the mountain, but I have to take it a bit easy at the moment because I still got the blooming leg thing going on. So yeah, until I'm given the all clear, I can't go back to being a mountain goat again. So I will just do the little bits. That pack I bought years and years ago, it's actually a ski pack. It's got the bits on the side for the skis and all that kind of stuff. And when I bought it, the guy said to me, he said, well, why are you buying a ski pack? Why are you buying a ski pack? Because it's actually incredibly useful. Those little round pocket things on the side that you'd normally have your skis in and stuff are actually fantastic. Like I say, I put tripods in there if I'm taking stuff out. If I've got my wood saw, if I'm trail clearing, I take my wood saw with me. There's a pouch on the outside of it which is perfect for wet gear. Like if I say I get absolutely soaked, in here is a pouch which is outside the I think I actually have a sweatshirt in there at the moment. So it's outside the pack, so that it doesn't really matter, you know. It gets wet, doesn't matter. It's not inside the pack making everything else wet. That's the other good thing about having garbage bags and that with you. If you've got wet gear, you can just wrap them up, stick them in there. Oh, I hear a deer. Oh, there's a deer here somewhere. I can hear him. Now there's cougars and that along this ridge. I know there are because I've seen them up here before. However, I think I know where they live too. There's an area over there. I'm not going to tell you exactly where, just in case people go looking for them. But people are like, I want to get a picture of a cougar. No, you don't. Not close up, close and personal in a forest. You don't. Yeah, I can assure you. Yeah. So down that way, I do know an area where you will find cougars. But always keep an eye out. But you won't hear them. I know that was a deer. Deer are very quiet in the forest. And I know that was a deer. I know the sound of deer. I spend enough time out here. They're incredibly quiet, but a cougar you will not hear. Cougar will literally walk right past behind me. I wouldn't even hear it unless it started hissing at me. And that's the time to bail out like real fast. Yeah, get a cougar hissing at you. Yeah, that's not a good plan. Yeah. Right. So I am going to head that way in a mo. I will get all my stuff packed up. I will enjoy what's left of this sunshine over on this side of the hill, because I'm not sure how much sunshine there might be over the other side. Look at that. The sun's coming up lovely through the trees. Look. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Yeah, very nice indeed. Right, let me stop waffling. Let's get packed up, and I can then move on to a different location here. Well, as always, whenever you leave anywhere in the mountains, make sure it is cleaner than when you arrived. Make sure everything's nice and tidy, put away. Everything's good. Nothing left behind. No garbage, no nothing. I try to leave very little sign that you're ever there. And it, other than the white side of these rocks showing upwards, you wouldn't even really know I'd been here. Right, now to get out of here, I have to clamber back down these rocks. So I will need 2 hands for that. Oh, look at that. Isn't that a lovely day? I will take that. Very, very nice indeed. Yeah. That sun's come around. I did actually bring extra sweatshirts and that with me today, thinking it might turn chilly, but that is obviously not going to be the case. So for me to get out of here, I've actually got to go down there. I'm about 200 meters, I guess, above the river, so I've got to lose about 200 meters here. But I will head down that way. Let me just give you a shot out through here. I don't know how much we'll be able to see because there is a bloody great cliff here. Not a lot. As you can see, I'm on the top of a very large cliff. There is a river down the bottom there. I'll say that's a couple 100 meters down, so that is a big river. But this is as far as I'm going on there, because there's a big rock shelf all the way along there. Beautiful. Look at that, the sunshine through the trees. Let's get behind that tree. Make a better picture. There we go. That's nicer. Yep. Now I need to get off of here. As you can see, it's a little rough up in here. Right, so I will put this away. I have to go down that way and then head up that hill on the other side there. Right, that'll do for the moment. Ah, found it. Many years ago, this was a bit of a cabin. As you can see, it's not now. Cool. That really is. This was a fireplace in here. Yeah. As you can see, all the logs and that have all been removed. It's all rotting away. Nature's taking it all back. Yeah. Nature's taking it all back. Yes. Yeah. This was a fairly reasonable cabin at one point. Last time I came here, the only bit that was missing, half the roof had collapsed, and that was about it. But as you can see, most of the rest of it is now fallen to pieces. I think that's the roof pieces over there. Yeah. This was the front wall. Yeah. And that big dead standing tree there looks like it's ready to fall over at any time. So I will get the hell out of here. Yeah. Haven't been here for a while. The place is really tumbled down. Yeah. Yes. As far as cabins go, that's basically now just a pile of wood. Which is good, because you know, you build places like this. I know where there's lots and lots of like little cabins and hidey away places out in the mountains. I found loads of them over the years. But this one's obviously a fairly old one. It's pretty much fallen to pieces now. Which is not bad, you know. If you're going to build them, you know, that's one thing, but you have to bear in mind that you're not really supposed to. But I do know where there's some small ones. Like if I got stuck out in the mountains, I know lots of places where there's good shelter, which is not a bad idea. But this was obviously somebody built one just for sake of building a cabin, I guess. Right? But it's fallen to pieces now, so oh well. So I will get the hell out of here, head back down the valley. Got to clamber over these rocks, head back down the valley, and head back to where I want to be. Right, time to head out of here. That's a rough bit done. Got to walk through the forest. Now you'll notice I have my pole in front of me. You're probably thinking, why is that pole there? You're thinking, yeah, that's because it's cobweb o'clock. Now I'm following this deer trail. I don't know if you can see it there on the camera. There's a very faint deer trail down through there. I'm following the deer trail because deer are smart. They live here. They know where they're going. So follow them. like I've said in many of my videos before. If they're going uphill, they're usually going to good shelter or grazing. If they're going downhill, they're usually heading towards water. So, but they live here, they know the shortcuts. Oh, bloody cobwebs. It's cobweb o'clock, so hence the pole. So, let's see the deer trail down through here. See that there? Goes across there and down through the trees that way. That's what I'm following. Because I know it'll take me to roughly where I need to be. Sun's off towards my rear, so I know I'm heading roughly. I'm not heading south, so I'm not heading east or west, so that only leaves north. Yeah. These are the things you've got to follow. See this? Absolutely perfect. They are smaller than we are, so sometimes I have to go round things. But yeah. This forest is absolutely soaked in the bottom of here. This is good to see after all the fires and that we've had lately. Yeah. I will take this. Oh, I know where I am. So people often ask me, because I'll wander off through forests like this all day. And as long as I know where the sun is, or I've got a compass with me or whatever, it doesn't really matter. I don't get lost. People always say to me, do you ever worry about getting lost? I say, nope, I don't always know where I am, but I'm never lost. Because I always know which way I'm going, and I know which way I came from, so as long as I'm going back that kind of general direction, it's good. Like I say, and deer live here, so they know where they're going. So I have to cut down through more of that. There's some juniper bushes coming up, and anybody that walks through forests like this enough will tell you that juniper bushes are a pain in the rear end. They make really good tripping hazards. So I will put this camera down, and I will do some more once I'm out of the cobwebs and the junipers. So I'm back down the bottom at the river. I will take that as my closeout shot for this video. Thank you for coming along for the trip. That was a very nice walk around indeed. Yeah. I've sat on this rock over here once before. I've sat on that one to pull my feet down, but I can tell you now, this river is incredibly cold. So I will call that it for now. Again, thanks for coming along for the trip, and I will see you in the next one.